It's Picking Brains podcast, and we are back today.
We are back.
Yes, with the fabulous crew from Shepton Mallet. We have Charlie and Jenny with us today. Yes, you can probably see them below me there. And who else do we have? Let's find out. Well, my name's Charlie. That's Meg down there.
Hello.
And that's Greg.
Hiya.
Wouldn't it be weird if my hands just entered your screen?
That would be so odd.
Good. All right. Yeah, good to be back.
Yeah.
Hope everyone's safe and well. In this, let's hope, is what is the back end of this lockdown that we're in. And who better to talk to about lockdowns than Shepton Mallet Prison? What a link there.
Perfect link.
So,
I love it.
I'm just going to give a little bit of background about them, and then we'll throw all of that explanation out the window and get the actual facts from Charlie and Jenny. But what I've got here is HMP Shepton Mallet, sometimes known as Cornhill. I've only just found that out, but obviously that's more of a famous name. Is a former prison located in Shepton Mallet, which is a lovely little town. If you haven't been there, it's really good. In Somerset in England. When it closed in 2013, it was the UK's oldest operating prison and had been since the closure of HMP Lancaster Castle in 2011, which is pretty good. It's more recently than I thought it was, but that's cool. And the company that now run it are Jailhouse Tours. They operate at Shepton Mallet Prison, and they also operate at Shrewsbury Prison. They run tours, themed events, experiences, educational and history days, seasonal events, and what we're going to be talking about today, ghost tours. So, how much of that is right and how much of that is absolute twaddle?
Well, you've done your research, Greg, so you've done pretty well there, to be honest with you. I think you've covered the main parts. We were built in 1610, or the beginnings of 1610. Which is why we're such an old prison, although most of what you can see now is Victorian. And we consist of 169 cells, but we had 189 prisoners on its closure. So we're actually quite a small prison in comparison to those that are open today.
How does that compare with prisons that are open today then? What's the number that you normally get? Like double that?
And the rest. Some of the prisons around the country, 2,000, 3,000?
Something like that, yeah. Wrexham is like a super prison, so you're talking thousands of cells in that one.
Wow.
Wow. Oh my God.
Yeah. I think one of the smallest prisons that's open now is about 450 people, memory, so 450 prisoners. So we were really small, which is one of the reasons that we and 7 others closed in 2000.
Right, I get you. So has the capacity always been like that, or has bits been added to the prison over time?
I'll let you answer that. You're really the historian among us.
When the prison first opened, it was so way back in the 1600s. The site was a lot smaller than what it is today. Yeah. So they had on plans that we've got. Back then, there were only about 9 cells. There would have been more than 1 person per cell. It doesn't give us like a total number of people there or anything, but you've only got these sort of 9 cells to work with. And then the prison bought more land, and then in the Victorian times, they filled in the original prison and actually built what's here today, sort of on top of it.
Right.
So they and around it as well. So our exercise yard is unusual as far as prisons are concerned, because we've got one massive one, and that's because we actually have the original prison underneath it. Built around it.
No doubt where a lot of the ghost stories originate from.
Definitely there's a few ghost stories related to the exercise yard and that kind of era.
Let's start by, before we delve into the stories, how does the ghost hunting work at the prison? So you open it up to ghost hunting paranormal groups. They come in, they hire the premises for overnight, and you run these Saturdays and through the winter and stuff.
That's pretty much it. So we're willing to take ghost hunters any time of year. any day of the week. But generally speaking, most ghost hunters will tell you the ghosts only come out at the weekends. So there, and at night, obviously. So most Fridays and Saturdays we have paranormal groups come in. They literally come in with a group of customers and often do their thing, if you like. So they do various different techniques to talk to ghosts and try and get them to communicate with ghosts and all the rest of it. Seances to Ouija boards to table tipping, all those different kind of factors, really.
Techniques.
And
no doubt you've been on some of these hunts, have you?
Yeah, I can say I've done 1 or 2 dozen.
Very experienced in the ghost hunting, then.
Yeah, I mean, Jen's very experienced as well. So we both had experiences. I mean, I've been interested in ghosts for decades now. My first experience was kind of seeing these weird shapes and figures in one of the old places that I used to work. And then I started getting into Ouija boards and that sort of thing. So I kind of grew to love that aspect, if you like, at quite a young age. Whereas Jen, I think...
Oh, I suppose when I think about it, I did experience things as a kid, and I've always been fascinated with it. But you know how, like, when you're the only person who's fascinated, you feel like you're a bit of a freak? You just sort of hide it and bury it. And then when I started working at the prison, it was like, everybody else who works here is a freak too. It's okay.
Yay, a club. Funny enough, that's what it's like at Zombie Infection.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
So let's start with your personal experiences then. So let's start with one each out of the prison and then one in the prison.
So I was really, so I lived in this house, and we always used to joke that there was, because our house was semi-detached, and you could hear the neighbours quite well, so they'd shut the door and you'd be like, oh, it's the ghost. Like, we just sort of, in my housemate, we just joked that it was a ghost. And one night I remember I was really ill, and my housemate had gone back home, and I took myself off to bed, and then I woke up in the middle of the night and there was this man standing over my bed. Which freaked me out a little bit, and then he
That wasn't a neighbour.
God, definitely
and
not.
then he faded into the darkness, and then I realised I shouldn't have been able to see him at all because it was pitch black in there. I've had writing on the wall as well downstairs in the living room.
That might have been a neighbour.
Maybe.
Through the wall.
Maybe.
I'm friendly with my neighbours.
That's the reason why.
So we've had a couple of things like that outside. I've seen various dead pets.
Sounds terrifying.
Like Pet
Go on then,
Sematary
Charlie.
in real life.
So for me, in some of the properties, I used to work in hospitality and old hotels or old houses that were converted. And I used to do a Ouija board. And I did a Ouija board in one of the places that I worked. And I was with a friend of mine, and she said to me, "Oh, there's a little boy right behind you." And I thought, okay, this is really freaky, as we were kind of communicating. And then the little boy started to pick on my friend, and she didn't really like that side of things. So I told him off effectively. And the next thing we did, we heard crying in the corner underneath the stairs, and we could both hear it as clear as day. And we both went over there. There was obviously nothing behind us. Sorry, our lights have just gone out.
Oh my god! Such a
That wasn't
perfect
planned. That was genius.
Actually.
So that kind of freaked me out a little bit. But I used to also walk to work in another hotel that I worked in. I used to see this figure in the window every single morning, and I knew that in front of that window was a dressing table, but this gentleman was with a top hat and very well groomed. So yeah, definitely not the dressing table.
Sounds cool.
I once had a ghost experience. I was having a shower, right? and no, bear with me. I was having a shower, and there's a window, like one of those toilet marbled windows that you look out of when you're having a shower. And this white figure came like past really close past the window, and it couldn't have been smoke because that's not where the smoke came out. Couldn't have been a car because it was too close to the window. And I fell backwards and nearly like whacked my head off the back of the shower. And my mom said, right, it was my grandma her ashes are partially buried in the garden. So
Wait, your grandma's ashes are buried in your back garden?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a long story. I'm not going to get into that.
So you were in the shower and something went past the outside of the window?
Yeah.
Right. Not a bird or...
It was nighttime, so it couldn't have been like a bird.
Wait, so it was nighttime.
Yeah.
And you still saw something move. Was it white?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Not like a car lights or anything.
It was too close to the window. It wasn't a car light. It was too close to the window.
Okay.
I'm assuming this is the second floor, or like
second floor,
not the ground floor.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Go on then, Meg. You got one, didn't you? You just said before we came on air that your house is haunted, right?
So some of the ones that I've been told about that happened in the house, kind of like I've got this stethoscope that I've had for ages, and I hung it actually on the top of my wardrobe just there. And when I was on holiday, literally for about a week and a half, it was fine. But then one day my auntie just heard this thud, and it had gone straight off. And it had been sitting there fine. No one had touched it. No one had tampered with it. And then again the next day, our brolly rack just fell down. No rhyme, no reason. And the one that I had, my nan was sitting in her living room. I was in the kitchen. And I just hear this massive thud from upstairs. And I'm thinking, okay, it's just me and my nan in the house. She's not upstairs. So I'm like, I just called to my nan. I'm like, Nan, was that you? And then she just walks in and said I was in my living room. And I'm like, okay.
Thuds and noises.
What about you, the skeptic?
Me?
Mm-hmm. Come on then, let's hear it.
Well, the thing is, with the paranormal group that I had years and years ago, well, you know, we did some pretty cool locations. Never did a prison. But yeah, I must have spent about 500 hours sort of in the dark in these haunted locations. And, you know, I don't think there was odd stuff that happened, but I don't think there was anything where I could sort of say, you know, yeah, okay, I'm not necessarily looking for definitive proof, but that I could not at least come up with some kind of reasonable explanation for, really. So I'm still waiting. The reason why I spent 500 hours in the dark is because I wanted to obviously believe in ghosts. You know, Ghostbusters is my favourite film. I watched The X-Files when I was growing up. You know, I was influenced by all these things. And having said that, you know, personally, I don't believe that we have discovered everything. You know, just because we haven't seen it doesn't mean that we haven't. It's not going to be discovered. You know,
Exactly.
From now on in. So yes, I'm a skeptic, but I'm still open to the possibility that there are other things, you know, out there that we can't quite explain. So, tell us the biggest ghost story. Do you have like characters? Because we always feel like haunted locations. You have like, you know, Scary Sam, or
like a person.
Yeah,
like
a person that's like the main ghost of the whole thing.
Like Timmy, who died there 50 years ago. Like...
yeah, and it's still buried.
Because of the age of the property, it's really difficult to know any names, but we have nicknamed a few of our more regular sighted or heard characters. One of those is, I don't know his name, Bob. Bob. It is Bob up in the Gate Lodge. Mr. Grumpy is his other name. Mr. Grumpy.
They're always grumpy, aren't they?
Yeah, well, so it seems. Although he's very happy up there. Basically, the original entrance had a gate lodge where a gatekeeper would stay when he was on duty, and he would basically go up and down stairs, welcome new prisoners, and open the gates as necessary, etc., etc. We have a lady who comes in quite frequently, like pretty much every week, and she does sound recordings. So she'll bring a little recorder with her, and she'll kind of hum and talk to herself effectively, but she's asking those questions consistently, you know, how are you today, and all those kind of things. And then she goes home, she listens for hours on end to the recordings that she's made. She's come up with some amazing weird sounds that are not your regular type sounds. They are talking, but it's quite difficult to fathom out what's being said unless you've kind of got very acute hearing. And she kind of nicknamed him Mr. Grumpy because he was always throwing stones at her and doing other bits and pieces in that space as well. One of our colleagues would absolutely refuse to go up there because she knew that something weird was always up there. But yeah, so that's probably Mr. Grumpy. What's the other one on the treadmill called? Night Watchman. Night Watchman is the other one. It's a long time since I've done a ghost tour here. The Night Watchman is another one who's been seen, and I think I've seen him as well, walking past the treadmill that we have. And the treadmill was basically a form of hard labour back in the Victorian times. And above the treadmill is the old infirmary, and obviously lots of people would have died during that time. But there would have been a watchman that would have been watching the hard labour yard, which sits in front of the treadmill on a permanent basis. And possibly it's him that we keep seeing as well. Yeah, those are kind of the names that come to mind straight away, unless you can. Oh, there's the White Lady.
Like,
oh my God.
Ghost.
I'll let Jen tell that story.
Okay, so back in the 1800s, there was this woman brought into the prison, and she had been accused of murdering her fiance. They were sentenced to execution, and they asked her if she had any last requests, and her final request was that she be able to wear her wedding dress. So her family brought in her wedding dress, and she wore it the night before her execution. When they came in the next morning to take her to execution, they found her already dead in her cell, and there was nothing to suggest that anything untoward had happened, anything like that. So it said that she died of a broken heart.
Oh.
But she killed the fiance.
Or she used the dress.
She allegedly killed a fiance.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
But so she has been seen on A Wing and the stairs. But sort of fast forward to the 20th century, and the inmates on A Wing started complaining about the temperature on the wing, how it suddenly dropped. They said they'd wake up in the middle of the night feeling like someone had their hands around their throat or was like sitting on their chest and they couldn't breathe. Others were reporting that when they woke up. There were officers who could work on that wing at night. Nobody wanted to be on that wing. So they actually, there were so many reports that the governor got involved. So the governor of the prison got two priests, I think, to come in and bless the wing. I've actually had the son.
Really?
Yeah. So they came in, they blessed the wing, didn't change the thing. These reports kept coming, and eventually, what are they called? No, the really important people. Government.
Yeah, office.
Home Office, that's the one, thank you. It's been a long time since I've done a talk.
Good, well.
The Home Office actually got involved, so they actually sent, I think it was 3 men down to investigate for 3 days to figure out what these reports were and sort of find a logical explanation. After 3 days sort of constantly on that wing, they couldn't find these reports from what, like they couldn't explain why these feelings or anything.
Wow.
See, still, some people can smell perfume. That's never.
That's quite a common one, isn't it? Like cigar smell and perfume.
Have you ever caught anything on camera?
Yeah, I'm interested in that as well.
People have often sent us photos that have done either nighttime tours or huntings, or daytime. They've kind of been around in the daytime, they've taken a snap, and it turns out that there's a white thing on there. There's never really Oh, there has been once a figure that's kind of a black figure that stood in Sea Wing, but there's never really been an accurate shadow of someone. It's always been orbs and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean that's the prize, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're a very dusty site, so it's difficult because someone so we've got a cell that dates back to 16. Someone goes in the cell, they take a photo, come and go, look, we've got orbs. And so they're going, dust.
Yeah, everybody gets orbs.
Just
Yeah.
But that being said, I have seen. I have seen. So I took a group of people up onto B Wing. It was night time, and they actually caught. Really weird. So on what they caught was a bright light. It wasn't just this sort of vague see-through sort of white blob. It was a solid little white light whizzing around B Wing. It was really.
Was that on CCTV or on a normal camera?
No, it was on a normal camera. We don't.
CCTV picks up spiders, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'd love to go in there with like one of those like radio machines. It's like a thing where it allows them to like channel their energy into this radio box, and it's like normally like it picks up just frequencies from loads of different like radio stations and whatnot, and like the ghost will allow it to speak through it, and apparently like I've seen videos where like they say like more specific words and say people's names and stuff, and it's creepy.
I'd like to do that. I'd like to do that as well.
Yeah.
We had Paranormal Lockdown, if you're familiar with the old paranormal TV programs, with Nick Groff and Katrina Wiseman, I think it is. They came and did a 3-night stay over, and they had one of these massive boxes that basically was picking up sounds like you're explaining. And in the execution room, they did their bit of kind of chatting and all the rest of it. And next thing they know is this very loud voice of a woman comes through saying that she's Cassandra.
She's
so
Cassandra.
All right. We obviously don't have reports of prisoners that were here during that time or years ago, so we're not sure how accurate that is or who she could possibly be, which era, and all the rest of it. But yeah, very much. We've like I say, we've had that kind of thing which you can see on TV. So yeah, it's weird.
Was that a whole episode at the prison?
Wow.
Whole episode, yes.
I'm looking that up. I am.
You won't ever go back there.
I like ghosts. I think they're
Yeah.
they just need to deal with some things.
They're just wandering souls.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Looking for a home.
The one thing you have to think about is why they are here in the first place.
Yeah.
There's some pretty atrocious crimes that have been committed for them to be here. So I know for a fact that I do, and I'm pretty sure Jen does. Whenever we go into the wings, we always say, "Good morning, guys," just to make sure that we stay on the right side of them.
He said it just like that.
Tip them. Do they get a
God, I
cut
end
of
up
all of
doing
your visitor fees?
You got to welcome yourself. You got to acknowledge they're there, otherwise they'll get upset.
Exactly.
Right, we always say it's like it's like being in a just a general gathering. If you walk into someone's home, you don't just walk past and ignore them and then run around like you own the place. You say hello to them.
About the fact that they're all criminals.
Exactly, that's even worse. You don't want to annoy a criminal.
Exactly.
No.
I've had experiences when I've been cleaning out a cell. Is that you kind of clean the cell in one direction, bring it all towards the door so you can sweep it up. The door normally remains open. I've had times where I've not kind of gone in and said hello or anything like that, and I've kind of turned around and the door's closed behind me. It's like, oh god, because there's no lock. There's no locks on the door. That's one good thing. However, some of them are impossible to get out of, and you have to kind of finger your way through the doors and the cracks to try and open it again. It's an absolute nightmare.
Yeah. Well, we sort of related to our courthouse in West Brom has a jail block underneath. It's only got like 6 cells, But
it's
same in there,
creepy.
the doors don't have any handles on the inside, which is good for when we lock our customers in there, but
Yeah.
not so
Yes.
good when you get locked in there.
When you're in there.
It's
But
definitely
yeah, they can
haunted.
sometimes you can figure out how to get out because you've done it for so long. But it's when the customers can figure out how to get out that's the problem.
Mm.
But it's still really creepy down there. I can't go down there alone. I'll put my hands up and say I can't go down there alone.
Same. Not unless I'm in costume. Somehow costume changes the difference.
Either way,
Mm.
I cannot go down there alone.
Yeah, it is scary. Oh gosh.
So have you had any more TV shows or any more famous hunters? Like
TV shows. Oh my God. Yeah, we had Casualty film here 2 years
All
ago.
right.
Okay.
No, it was January last year. It was early last year, and it was meant to be a summer episode. So they filmed in January, but it actually came out in the summer. So timing and lights and sunsets were all really important. We had a big feature film with us when we first opened in 2017, I think it was. Maybe it was early 2008. Years go by so quickly when you're in prison. Yeah, so we had a big feature film, and literally the whole film is based around the prison here. The last minutes of the film is elsewhere on a beach. But it's an interesting film to watch if you ever get the chance. It's called Down Z, isn't it? Change the name. Patient Zero. That's right. It was originally called Patient. Now called Patient Zero.
Or Inmate Zero or something like that. I can't.
Yeah, that rings a bell.
Yeah.
Yeah, enjoy.
I'm sure we will.
Yeah, I think I found it.
Cool.
Yeah, we've had Bollywood here. We've had various Bollywood movies.
Uh-huh.
Oh, there's no dancing in the wings, though, unfortunately.
Turn the haunted prison into a musical site.
Yeah. I don't want to be a part of that. Paddington 2. Before we arrived, Paddington 2 was filmed. Or the scene with Paddington was filmed here. Top Boy. Thank you, Jen. Keep rolling. Keep going. I think now. I mean, it lends itself really well because actually, the white horse, the pale horse. There were a couple of scenes that were filmed here, although it wasn't actually of a prison. Some of the areas that we have here adapted kind of police station, and there was another one, I can't remember what it was. But yeah, so we can adapt ourselves quite well because obviously we've not just got the cells, we've got offices, we've got various other locations around. Well, you know, from the workshop, you know, the reception up there and that sort of thing is good for filming.
Yeah, it's great. So, so which part of the prison do you think would be the most haunted part then? Because I assume that the chapel at the back is the oldest.
The oldest parts are really at the front. You've been here, Greg. So where you've got the gate lodge, there's that little hole in the wall. We think that dates back to the early 1600s and was kind of the first part of the prison to be built. When I started here, I refused to go in that hole because it was just too creepy. No, you can't.
Why did you need to? Is it like an inauguration? Like you got to spend 72 hours in the hole.
Yeah, it took me a while to get in there, but actually it was one of Nick Groff's preferred locations. He slept in that.
Of course he did.
So God, I know.
Yeah.
Dave, I think, but so that's kind of the oldest part. I would say there's a couple of spookier areas where there's been more activity, and I'd say that's A-Wing, Gate Lodge, and possibly the infirmary above the treadmill. But to be honest, people keep coming back to us and saying, "Oh, there's something really weird going on in Sea Wing," and especially children who seem to be quite and ease and open to seeing things will come back and say, "Oh my God, in B Wing, I've just seen a man walk past me," or there was a really weird noise or something like that. So, yeah, but definitely I'd say Gate Lodge and A Wing.
That's what we do. Yeah, nice.
Just going to see if I can screen share.
Oh Lord, what have you found?
What?
Is
Oh,
this?
when did it do it?
I can bring it up.
Like-
What is it that you want?
What?
I just type in Shepton Mallet ghost
Oh
into
Lord.
Google on the
God.
images.
Oh God.
Oh, I feel like this is gonna be terrible.
We...
Which one?
There are some very bad photo cropped photos of the prison with ghosts, so be careful.
Oh yeah.
There's just ones where like people are standing at the end of a corridor, and you can tell it's just them standing
Just
at
a
the end of a
person.
corridor.
Look at that little two tour guides there.
Oh.
Picture of the two tour guides.
Hold on. Let me bring it up. There we go.
Yeah,
I've
because
got
I can't see it.
I
No, we
can't
can't
see
do
it
that.
either.
it. Sorry, it's on the stream. It is there. Yeah, there's two lovely tour guides right there. This one's got to be my favourite. It's
Oh, there we
just
go.
a lady just standing in a cell, and it's titled Ghost Picture, and it's clearly just a lady in a black coat. But yeah,
We
Like-
do that. Go on, carry on.
No, I was just saying, I'm like, you think we're stupid? We know it's not a ghost. Hello.
oh, this,
There is a photo that hit the headlines with the sun mirror or something like that. We had some ladies come in on a paranormal night. I think not ghost tour.
It was paranormal.
It was paranormal.
If it's the photos.
What's
Yeah.
the difference?
And basically, we've always suggested, and a lot of paranormal groups will suggest as well, taking selfies, ask the spirit that they're trying to communicate with to stand behind them and then take photos and, taking these selfies because then they can use the energy that you're creating as well.
Yeah.
And these two ladies took a selfie in one of the Sea Wing cells, and basically in the corner of the photo, you can see a hand crooked over like that. And on the hand, there is a big ring on there, a red wedding ring. What's the right?
oh Lord. Oh, I see
Yeah,
it.
it is.
Nope.
There it is.
Basically, have you got it? Have you? So basically, as soon as it was paranormal. As soon as they took this photo and they saw this hand was in the corner, they showed it to the host. The host insisted that everyone around the whole of the group, down to their hub point, to their meeting point, everyone held out their hands to make sure that this ring wasn't replicated at all. And it seemed that no one was wearing a similar ring to what they'd seen in the photo. This then hit the headlines and all the rest of it. Anyway, long story short is the fact that the paranormal group believed that possibly this was one of the craze rings because they wore such big rings when they're out and about in normal life. That when they were held here, that possibly they had returned here wearing one of their rings and had turned up in this photo.
That makes sense because there's quite a few. You've had quite a few prisoners that are quite famous, haven't you?
The craze are probably the
One we get asked about all
Yeah.
the time.
but this is actually where they met Charlie Richardson back in the 1950s. So they would later on become arch rivals, but this is very much where they kind of met initially. The other thing is we actually believe they're on A Wing, not C Wing, where this photo was taken. Hey
Wow.
ho.
Just seen some really old photos of the prison. That's quite weird. Just seen some really sort of black and white old photos. I think I've been there so many times, but I've never actually really stopped to sort of take in the the tourist elements of it to see sort of. I expect you've got all these pictures of the.
Yeah, we have one of the ex-officers who was librarian here decided to write a book at prison and did a lot of research in the 90s. Now, obviously, things have changed. We've got Google now, and so much information is placed onto Google. But he went down to the archives. He found a lot of information out. He found lots of dated photos and all the rest of it, put them into his book. Which was brilliant because then, we found a lot of history out that way for ourselves. But actually, as we have more and more people come in, they kind of tell us new stories or twist the story that's actually related in the book to give us a more accurate picture of what really happened. Even today or yesterday, Jen and I were in one of the areas and we said, hang on a minute, there's a window there. I've never noticed that before. And it's kind of basically a window frame that's been blocked in, and you can see there was a window there once upon a time. But we both look at each other going, my God, just imagine what it's like to have been here 100 years ago and how different it would have been. And some of the buildings weren't even built then, and how it would feel. Or you look at the Second World War, we had the Americans here, how that would have felt and how different that would have been. It's kind of...
They would have repurposed areas for different things and probably used different doors and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, with the execution room that I'm sure you've been into, Greg, we believe that was built by the Americans because it's a very funny red brick building, whereas the rest of it's all limestone, grey, and kind of stone. Yeah, it's all local stone. But actually, having dug a little bit further, it seems that building was actually built in the 1920s or late 19 teens. And the first executions would have happened soon after that, up until 1926, which was civilian executions that took place. Then the Americans used it in the 1940s for their executions.
Wow. That surely must be a hot spot. Like all the ghost hunters,
Really? No, we don't actually get a lot of results necessarily from the execution room. I've seen table tipping. I actually probably my first paranormal experience was that I was at where the trap door was, and someone poked me in the back. I was the only person in the room.
Oh my God.
Other than that, we don't tend to get a lot of people going there and say it's actually a very calm room. Although we had an article in the paper, made it to the paper. One of our tour guides was in the execution. His part about the tour, he was explaining a story about one of the Americans who was executed. This particular American was a smoker, and as he's telling the story about this American, he felt something on his hand. He sort of brushed it off, and he just carried on. And then afterwards, he looked at his hand, and he had what looked like a cigarette mark, a cigarette burn on his hand.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Oh my
story.
God.
Yeah.
That made it into the national papers.
Wow.
It's not quite in there, but generally when we do paranormals, we don't get a lot of people say, "Oh, this happened."
Oh yeah, I've just seen the picture of that.
Yeah.
I mean, the good news. Next year, I've been looking at dates. We do overnight stays several times a year, and obviously this year's been slightly thrown out, but we've got a couple coming up. But next year's dates, I've actually chosen a couple of Friday nights which have had executions on that day.
Anniversaries.
That's a sales pitch right there.
Exactly that.
Yeah. And they're fully booked already.
So it's going to be quite interesting to see whether people get any reaction in the executions on those nights.
Yeah.
That'd definitely be interesting to see if anything more happens on those nights, because it's like almost like a paranormal anniversary almost.
Yeah.
But with one of the overnight stays that we did do, one of the first ones actually, we had a group of 4 girls, and they came up to me at about 4 o'clock in the morning as I was bleary-eyed, saying, "Oh, we've just seen this figure in the exercise yard. Do you know anything about it? It's an old woman. She's got a shawl on." It's like, well, there's no women here with shawls on.
She booked on.
Last minute.
Right. So the 4 of them had seen her. 2 of them had gone up to her and asked if she was okay. This woman didn't respond whatsoever, and basically, eventually, after they kind of asked her several times if she was all right, she got up and she literally walked away and then suddenly vanished into thin air.
Well, that's going to change your outlook on life, isn't it? If that happens.
And considering 3 of them saw that, you kind of think there's definitely something tricky about that.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't seen her as yet.
Now I really want to go ghost hunting there now.
Yeah, I want to go because I think I'm the only one out of these 2 that hasn't been to Shepton Mallet yet, so I'm really excited to go.
It's good.
Are there any areas of the building that you haven't explored?
Oh yeah.
I hate to say this, but no, I don't think there is.
What's that?
Is there anywhere that we haven't explored?
No.
No, I mean, to be honest with you, I use a pendulum sometimes on my own. And actually, I've been into the workshop several times, and I've had a couple of weird experiences as well. With shadows kind of passing me very rapidly, and also some weird sounds too.
Yeah, so just to contextualise, so zombie and fiction run events in the workshop, which is the factory side of the prison, which is empty, isn't used for normal day tours. And it's its own standalone building where the prisoners would have gone over to do like workshop activities like carpentry and things and machine work and stuff. And yeah, we run our events in there every month, or once or twice a month or so. And so all our workshop crew will know the building quite well. So please tell us exactly where you saw these things so that next time they go, they'll be absolutely terrified.
Oh my god,
the light's gone again.
It's so haunted.
Time it didn't scare me so much. They're on a timer, and because we're not moving very much, it's not picking us up.
Okay, that's not ghosts then.
I've got a good story from the workshop.
Yeah, Jen, you tell a good story on the workshop.
So I was at the reception desk that you guys use. It's where I think it's obviously where your actors get ready. So our reception. We used to for our escape rooms. I'd been to China. I'd been away for a while. I was in Belgium. Came back. I went up to the reception area to get the jumpsuits ready and to sort everything out before the guests arrived. And in the room behind reception, you've got all the costumes and things. I heard someone knock on the door back there. Bear in mind, I'm the only person in there, and it was a definite like someone knocking on the door. I'm like, okay, that's inside the building. I'm the only person here. There is no access to outside.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about walls that are like prisoner, like ancient thick. Prisoner thick, aren't we? And windows that are like thick concrete glass.
Outside of the building, because obviously where you go in the door at the end of the corridor, that's ground level, but where reception is, that's not at ground level.
No.
It's on a hill. So it wasn't someone from outside, it wasn't anyone inside, and it was a very definite pattern, so it wasn't just a random one knock, it was like a knock. And I was like, okay, all right, hi.
Hi.
Oh my god.
Yeah, where everybody gets ready for the events.
They'll be like, Charlie, why aren't you getting there? Why aren't you getting ready? Oh no, it's nothing. I just a bit cold in there. That's all.
I'm worried we're going to freak half your team out, Greg. You know.
Good. That's the objective.
You're strong as bull.
Keep on their toes.
Yeah, from my experience, is you go opposite reception, there's a set of stairs that go down and up. And down those stairs, and as you know, it's the basement there. And didn't know where the light switches were. It was one of the first times I'd been in there, and I thought I'd do a pendulum just to see what was about, as you do. Now, back in the day, before the workshop was built, which dates back to the 1970s, were some old huts, which were used probably up until they were knocked down in the 1970s, and they were used as officer accommodation, I believe. And basically, I had my torch on. I had the pendulum going. I thought I heard something behind me. I turned around. So I'd passed the stairs on my left-hand side, and I saw this shadow or this figure or this light kind of pass all the way in front of me, and kind of disappear. And it's like, oh my God, I've got to get out of here.
So where exactly were you? You're a basement level?
Some of the stairs, the basement. Remember, there's
Before the double doors?
Yeah. You've got the understair cupboard.
Yeah.
Kind of, I was facing that when this light kind of came for me that side there.
Right. The basement is one of the greatest places I think I've been able to use. I think it's just got so much character with all the mesh and the layout of it. It's really one of my favourite places of all time, I think. But it is spooky because the ceiling's a little bit lower, isn't it? You've got all of the electrical cables above your head. You've got cages above your head. It's bloody dark in there.
A lot of our team don't like it. I don't have a problem with it myself, but a lot of the team will go like, I don't like the basement. I don't want to go down to the basement.
Yeah, I think it's because the mesh walls and the glass walls, interior walls we're talking about, they definitely create a feel of like anything could be looking at you through any of those. You wouldn't really know that it was there. It sort of creates a lot of perspective of I'm being watched.
Yeah.
Thanks, Greg. That's put me off going down there even more so now. Anyone looking at you? Yeah. No.
There's a lot of angles where you can sort of see all the way through from really far away, but there's multiple walls and doors obviously to get to that location. But because of the glass and the mesh, you can still see all the way from front to back. The one thing that gets me in the workshop when I'm walking around there in the dark is, although I've got a funny story about walking around there in the dark, is the fire detector posts.
Oh yeah.
Because they're in the middle of the room, so you're not expecting there to be anything in the middle of the room. So when there's sort of like that ambient light, you sort of see it, and because it's human like height or tall and thin, you think that's a person. And there's been a couple of times I've thought, oh, that's a person. Oh no, it's not a person. It's not a person. But they get me every time. Those things. And they're just pieces of wood.
In the dark, you can just hear this ominous beep coming from the basement, and the battery runs low on the
definitely.
Yeah. I think one of the things in the job that we do is because you do have to navigate a lot of places in the dark.
Yeah.
So you sort of get used to walking around and understanding a space. You sort of you know how far away you are from the walls. You sort of have this this sort of extra sensory sort of direction. But I was walking down there on one of the events just before lockdown, and I'm walking along and something hit my foot, and I was complete darkness, and I thought, right, okay, well that's not meant to be there. So I just in the dark just reached down, picked up whatever it was. It's someone's phone. Like it's hard enough to find something in there when the lights are on, but to find something in the dark I thought was quite remarkable.
Yeah.
I mean, walking around in the dark is something you kind of get used to doing around here. And like you kind of know that if you're in what we call the notorious killer room, which has got boards about or information about notorious killers, I know there are 2 posts in the room. I know that they are supports for the roof, in fact.
That's right.
However, if someone puts a chair in between those 2, I know I am going to be the one that walks into it, and it hurts. Trust me.
Yeah, right.
You kind of learn your way around, and I've done this site so many times. I know that I'm coming up to a door, or I'm coming up to a a set of stairs or whatever it is, and then you're kind of fingering or feeling your way around, and you kind of God, it's up any second now. But yeah, it's those that are watching you behind you that you kind of think, oh God, don't say anything, don't move, no one move.
It's a cool job, I think, to work. I think one of the favourite things I like about the job, and similar to yours, you do get to spend a lot of time in these amazing locations, and you do get to explore. One of the reasons why I set up the ghost hunting stuff originally was because I got to explore these amazing abandoned buildings, or these amazing buildings that weren't abandoned, without anybody else there, like overnight. And you have that isolation of just being able to explore these incredible places, which is the reason why I asked you about, is there anywhere that you haven't unlocked yet? Because I remember some of the places you just open door after door and it would open up somewhere else, and there'd be like a set of stairs. Like at our courthouse, there are temporary walls. The layout's really weird. There are temporary walls, and someone accidentally put their fifth through one of them, and through it you could see an old set of stairs.
Yeah, it's like a spiral staircase. Yeah, and the best thing about that is always when guests have their back towards the holes, they always 100% think something is going to, like, they refuse to be by the holes. They're just adamant, and you're like, seriously, no, just stand there,
like,
please.
Every doorway,
doing that, we know
every
we've got
hole.
Yeah.
Every doorway, every hole, they're always checking, and it's just hilarious.
Yeah, it's good. All right, cool. So is Saz around?
I can drop her a message, Rooney. I'm pretty sure she's watching. But yes, Saz is around to play a game. I
Has
reckon.
she named it yet?
What? I don't know.
So at the end of every interview that we have with any of our guests, we get them to play this game, which is basically pure luck, but it's quite fun.
It is.
Really straightforward, but we'll get her on and we'll get her to play that game. Did you guys want to mention what you're up to? Because I know that you're about to reopen your doors again to the general public.
Yeah, we're really excited. We've Jenny and I have spent a lot of time in prison, but on the right side of the law. Basically, recreating or making this even an even more interesting place to come and visit. We've managed to find new bits and pieces. We're opening more interpretation spaces, so you can see how the school kind of works and all that sort of thing during the Victorian times. So we're really excited to kind of open and show these off now. So we open on Saturday for our self-guided. We've actually readjusted our pricing as well, so it's £10 to self-guide or £5 for children, so it's really good value for money.
Yeah.
And then later on at the beginning of July, we've got our ghost tours coming back. And then in the middle of July, at the beginning of the school holidays, we've got our first night behind bars, which is the overnight stay. And we've also got our guided tours starting then as well.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
My big gig.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yes.
And hopefully we'll be back in our workshop just before we close for lockdown. We did win the National ScareCon Award for that specific event, which is an awesome achievement, which makes us a two-time winner of that award. It's not an easy one to get. There are many zombie companies around the country, so we're incredibly proud of winning that, and it is one of our greatest locations. So if through August and towards the end of the year, hopefully, as restrictions lift and it's safe for people to do so, we will be back at the workshop for our 2-hour immersive zombie experiences. So if any of your guests or anybody that's watching fancy taking part, and you can still get gift cards on our website, which is zombieinfection.co.uk, and follow us through our Facebook channels, and that you'll be able to see. If you did want a sneak peek of also the inside of the workshop, we've got a few videos and photos that we took when we first came around there. That's got some cool pictures of like the basement that we spoke about and other places like that. And if you want to check out Shepton Mallet, look at Jailhouse Tours. I definitely recommend it. We ran our Christmas special in the actual prison itself. It's a fantastic building. It's massive, loads of things to explore, and it sounds like they've been doing a lot of hard work to get it into ship-shop shape for you guys to do it safely. So I'm excited to come back and see what you guys have updated.
Same.
Yeah,
I'm excited to actually go.
Yeah,
And I can see a little Saz face there. Hi, Saz.
That was
Hi.
so well timed with whatever that was.
What was that?
Oh, it was my tablet. Yeah, the problem is I'm watching and then I have to try and switch over to the Discord and everything, so it takes me a couple of minutes. I'm not very technology kind of person.
So,
Right,
you want to
hi, everybody.
explain the basics?
Yeah, so we're in a like bit of a weird camera angle today because I kind of took my spinner to work and I've left it there.
Naughty.
The kids needed it for their Hungry Caterpillar
Yeah,
game.
playing this game? Are you crazy?
I forgot. Right, so we have got our lovely One Fateful Night game.
Oh, that's
So
what
It has a
yours.
name. It does.
Yeah, One
Yeah.
Fateful Night. So the idea is you have all been very naughty recently. So you've been playing with Ouija boards, you've been poking at all the ghosts, you've been really getting in there, watching VHS tapes that you shouldn't have been watching, and all that sort of stuff. Really
Weird.
invoking the spirits, the
Oh, you mean the ring.
characters.
Right. Not just
and
weird
all that
VHS
kind of
tapes.
stuff. No, very specific VHS tapes.
Okay. Right.
And they're now after you. Okay, so all the baddies are after you now, and you have got 2 chances to survive the night. Because if you manage to survive the first one, there will be another one coming after you. But hopefully you will survive.
Oh boy.
Now we have got a leaderboard at the moment. Greg has actually done the best so far. He got
On the first
2
time I did it as well.
First time did it, and then we have got Charlie and Meg both on 5 points, but they've done it a lot more times. So if you manage to completely KO the character, then you get 2 points. You survive the night. If you just sort of manage to get away, but they're probably going to come get you or they'll get somebody else, then you get 1 point. If you die, you get 0. And if you manage to do everything perfect, even if that doesn't kill them because some of them can't be killed, then you still get 2 points as well. So the
Good.
way this chance game works is you are going to decide if you want to run, fight, or hide before
Right.
you know who's
Go on
after
then, Jenny.
you.
You can go first. You have to decide whether you run, fight, or hide.
Or hide.
What are you going to do?
Jen, what are we going to do?
Well, you could do it individually. So, Jen, you do it first. So, are you going to run, fight, or hide? You basically just have to pick one.
I will fight.
You're going
Fight.
to hide.
Oh,
Aye.
Fight.
So
Right,
now
fight.
you're going to choose, fight. Yeah,
Fight.
fight, yeah. So now you're going to choose one of those symbols, and this is going to
Lovely.
dictate who it is that you're fighting.
So I'll
Lovely
bring it a
blood
bit.
splattered cards.
Yeah, I'll bring it a bit closer for you.
There we go.
So you've got 3 rows of 4, and you can use the blood spatters to help you.
Okie doke. I will go for the smeary one. Second on the top row. Second in.
Top row.
Second.
That one.
That one.
Second.
No, the
Second.
second one along, right?
Second one in.
Yeah.
Oh, who've we got? You have got Norman Bates.
Oh.
Well,
Oh,
Cool,
you've
prisoner.
decided to fight him. Now, I don't think he's too hard to fight because we're not too bad fighters here. But it depends what weaponry you're going to get to fight him off. If you happen to get Disney song, then I'm sorry, but I think you're going to
That's
die.
it.
I think
show
finish
us
as
some,
well.
show us
So
some of the options.
We've had
Taz.
to put it down here today rather than on the wall because my spinner doesn't like being
So you're
upright.
fighting Norman Bates, and then she's going to spin this, and this will randomly select which weapon you've got to fight him with.
Okay.
And if you get jazz hands, you're going to die, I think.
Jazz hands, Disney songs, or holy water.
Or a
You're
sexy
done.
man.
I think a sexy man. I think we'll give you 1 point for that. Because
Yeah.
put the sexy man at him.
Just throw the person at them and then be like, "See ya,
Kill
take him
not
first."
me.
Go on then, deliver her fate.
Okay, let's have a look.
Oh.
Oh, you've got jazz hands.
Oh, you're
Oh.
fighting Norman Bates with jazz hands.
So you're a big 1-0, and you are dead.
Right, Charlie's go.
Dead.
Oh,
You're going to run, fight, or hide?
I will run.
You're
Right.
gonna run.
Charlie's going to run.
Okay, and
Now-
what card would you like to go for?
Let's go for the 2 tiers, is it? Bottom third one.
Yep.
One.
Oh,
Ooh,
you have got
Valak.
Valak.
Who's that?
So,
Isn't it?
The demon
Who's
nun
that?
from The Conjuring, Valak.
yep.
Demonic
So-
nun.
Wait, is that the nun?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Right, so you're running
Hail
away from a
Mary.
nun.
So
I think you
Harry's
need a
got
Hail
Valak.
Mary on this one.
She
Would
can
help
hover
you.
though, so she's
Can-
pretty quick.
She can run like really fast.
Yeah.
Run when I get scared. Though.
So you need
Right.
a holy substance, Hail Mary, or where is it? Their name and a
The name.
can. Oh, don't think we've got that one today on this board.
Oh,
So
that
let's
was
give it a
messed
go.
up. Right, spin it.
Because the one way to get rid of an evil spirit for good.
Oh, she's
Broken
Yeah, this
it.
is what happens when you return to work.
oh, that was better.
Oh,
That works. What's that? I can't see it.
A proton gun.
A proton gun. Well,
Wait,
Technically.
I think that's survival.
Yeah.
Slow her down, it won't
I think
kill her.
using a
That's
proton
better.
gun against a nun is going to have an effect.
Spiritual.
Fair, it's a demon nun, so it's not
Wait,
going to
sorry.
kill her.
No, it's not going to kill her. But
It's
we're
a
doing
running
it
away.
at 1 point. 'cause
Yeah,
I think
you're
that's
running
slow her
away,
down
yeah.
enough.
Wait, if he's
Because
running
you're-
away with a
because you're
proton gun,
running.
you can't look at her. So you're going to have to do it over your shoulder.
Yeah.
Demon.
But I think
Ooh.
it'll slow her down enough for you to get 1 point, Charlie.
Oh,
So
1
you
point.
just
1 point.
survived.
Sorry.
At this moment in time.
This
Who
is
else is
second,
playing?
second chance then, yeah?
I think us
Right.
three.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna run.
You're going to run.
And I'll take the heart, the one with the heart, just above Valak. Yeah.
Or you've got staple.
Mushroom.
So we're going to
Man.
give you a good
Mushroom.
spin.
I mean marshmallow.
Stay Puff Marshmallow Man. Oh my god. Oh boy.
I
You're
think-
running away from Stay Puft Marshmallow Man singing a Disney song.
Yeah.
That's never going to add up, is it, there, I think?
No, you've been squished, mate.
Yeah.
You're
Dead.
squished.
Oh,
You're
for
dead.
God's sake.
That's 0 for you.
It's not going very well, Charlie. Other Charlie.
Yeah.
I was pretty much dead as soon as Stay Puff Marshmallow Man came up.
I'll go for fight.
And where would we like to go? on
Help.
here? Help. Oh, you have got Frankenfurter.
I need a sexy man.
Hello.
So, sexy man, definitely. We're going to give you 2 points for that one. If you get a Disney song or jazz hands, then
That could work.
I think that could work also, but just enough for you to get away. And
Yeah. Right, let's go for
so
it.
let's have a look. Let's go for it. You've got courage, mate.
Well, Mr. Frankfurt loves courage. He finds it quite hot.
It's quite sexy,
Yeah,
yeah.
it is.
So
I'd say 1 point.
I think we'll give you 1, Charlie, there.
One.
Just 1.
Yeah, I'm the master. Mastermind.
All right, Greg, come on. Where you going?
Right, I'm going to hide
Oh,
Hide.
like a coward.
It might be a good tactic.
I'm going for the 3 blood dots.
bottom right.
Yeah. Here we go.
You keep
Here we
going.
go again. This is what I got last time.
Whoa.
Yeah, but you won.
I always pick the
All
zombie.
right.
It's fixed.
It is fixed, clearly.
Go on, then.
Proton gun.
Well, I'm hiding.
Yeah.
I can hide from a zombie.
Yeah,
If
you
it
can.
sniffs you out.
You
They
got
can't
1 on that.
smell.
Some can.
Charlie.
Some can.
So Charlie and Greg are left in the game. So if we go back to Charlie, you've got 1 more chance to survive the night. You've got someone else coming after you.
Okay, so I will. I'll run again.
Run again.
Am I just? Yeah, run again.
and
running?
where would you like to go for?
Let's go for the. One, yeah, that one, first one.
What?
The other one to your left.
The line.
That one.
No, never
No,
mind.
the line.
Ignore me.
Line.
Oh, yes, no.
The line, the one line of blood.
The one line of blood. You have Freddy Krueger.
Whoa.
Running from Freddy.
We're running
Right.
from Freddy. So let's have a look at what you get.
He wants me to get Disney songs.
Jazz hands.
You know what? Out of all of them, I could actually see that.
What are we thinking, everybody? Do we think we
I
can?
think one for theatrical performance.
I think one
Yeah.
for
Dead.
Might
Sorry,
distract him.
dead. Rest in peace. You're dead. Sorry.
What? Oh, dead.
Still dead.
Right, go on then, Sadler.
I'm going one. So you've got
Just waiting
2
on the
points
verdict.
altogether.
All
you
right.
just
Got
about
2 points.
survived.
Yeah, I think one's good.
All right.
Because you were running and with jazz hands, it deserves that point.
It's not like you're carrying anything.
Yeah. I'll
No
go.
one ever tried it.
That's
Exactly.
true.
That
That's
might have
true.
been
I
his
haven't
one and
come
only
across that one.
weakness. Jazz hands.
I chase you around and run away from you with jazz hands. and
Yeah,
how
we'll
well
see how that works.
I'd love to see that.
Go on then,
Um,
Sadler.
right,
Last
I'll
one.
go for hide.
I'm gonna go hide. And which one would you like to go for?
Bottom left corner, please.
That one?
Yes.
You have got Slender Man.
Oh.
Eee.
Uh-oh.
Creepy
You
person.
are doing the right thing by hiding. So hopefully you'll get an invisibility cloak or a Hail Mary or maybe one of the others, as long as it isn't a Disney song,
Yeah.
which is a bit too
Good.
noisy.
Yeah.
So you'll be
Let's have a
good. There we
looky.
go. Let's go for it. You have a holy
Got-
substance.
That can do.
That'll do.
Because
That'll
Slender
do.
Man is some kind of. I don't even know what he is.
We don't even know what he is, so
He's from a creepy pasta.
it might work.
I think that'll give you 1 point there.
I'm
You
Yeah,
get
alive.
two
I'd
with
say one.
two with an invisibility cloak or a Hail Mary, but one with
Yeah.
a holy substance.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
I'm quite chuffed.
Right then.
You're on a total of 7 now, Charlie.
Let's do this. Fight.
Greg, come on, fight.
I'm fighting 4 blood dots.
4 blood dots. Chucky.
Yeah.
Oh.
You just kick him.
This is a
Kick him over the
well-established
fence.
Chucky. So he takes quite a bit.
There's a
You
new.
need a
Let's
Hail
go
Mary
for
for
it.
this.
There's a new Chucky game coming out actually.
Oh.
Ooh.
What about a dagger?
Nope.
Oh, you get 2 spins.
I've got double weapons. Double
got
jazz
double
hands.
weapons.
No, you get two.
So you've got a sexy man.
That's not going to help.
No, that's not going to help. Let's go again. Oh, that's a spin again. And you've got jazz hands.
No! What is it with jazz hands? This game
Dead.
is rigged. It's waiting.
It is not.
I'll bring back the old spinner.
To be honest, you would have needed a Hail Mary
Um,
for Chucky.
Did
Yeah.
Charlie win that then? Sadler won that round. And Jenny just died straight away. So you were.
So did I. I died. I died as well.
And Meg. And
No surprise.
Charlie made it.
Charlie and
Quite
Charlie
far.
drew.
Boom, boom, boom.
So-
Boom, boom, boom.
That's not so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Saz.
Thank you, Sazza.
Thank you.
We need a new leaderboard, but it's getting a bit cramped.
Yeah. Need a
It-
nice long
But
one.
it's got more.
Oh,
Hey.
magic.
Should have known. Well, thank you ever so much, Jenny and Charlie, for joining us on our Picking Brains podcast.
Thank
It's been a
you.
pleasure.
Thank
I cannot
you.
thank you. We all cannot
Thank you,
wait
thank
to
you,
come
thank
down and see you guys there. We miss the place an awful lot.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so just to round up saying, like, you're open on Saturday for guests, and people can turn up, can they?
Tours on the 2nd of July every Thursday evening. Guided tours on the 18th of July, and escape rooms on the 18th of July, Night Behind Bars on the 17th of July, and following through in September as well.
Fantastic. Awesome
Fab,
stuff.
nice.
And our 2 hours zombie experiences. The dates are going to be hopefully from sort of August up until Christmas, and we'll hopefully be back for that. So thanks everybody for watching. Do follow us, give us a like if you subscribe on YouTube or whatever channel you're watching this on. Then please do give us a follow. It helps us all just get our content out there to the wider audience. So thanks for joining. See you soon, and bye from me.
Thank you. Bye.